Hello there, greetings to you indeed, and many thanks for joining us on Rwanda Television News tonight. We come to you later than expected due to Easter celebration programs, and thanks for sticking to Rwanda Television. And as we begin our edition, analysts have continued to blame the international community as well as some regional leaders who have been accused of ignoring the hate speech and atrocities being committed against Congolese nationals that belong to the Tutsi tribe, even as they continue to get worse. This comes as Rwanda and the world prepare to mark 30 years since the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi was committed here in Rwanda.
The anniversary will be marked on the 7th of April. But it looks like the world has learned nothing in the last 3 decades when you consider the behavior of many when it comes to what is now happening in the Eastern DRC, a tragedy that has its roots in what happened here in Rwanda all those years ago. The hate they are sowing among the Congolese stems from that document that was prepared in 1996 by that group that was led by the genocidal government that had fled. They formed a political party that called itself the RDR, the Rally for the Return of Refugees and Democracy in Rwanda, led by someone named Francois Nzabahima, and he was replaced by Charles Nderehe, that you see posting on social media. That political party was meant to spread the ideology they fled Rwanda with all over the world. The response of the world to what is happening in the Eastern DRC can make one wonder if that objective was achieved. Not once have those nations of Europe or America, and these are the most powerful nations on earth, including France, not once have they denounced the killings of Kinyarwanda-speaking people in this region. They do not speak of that anti-Rwandan, anti-Tutsi ideology, and in Masisi people are being exterminated. People are being killed, cannibalized, and burnt alive. Rwanda's leaders, however, have not remained silent on the issue, nor are they pretending not to see the seriousness of the problem and what it could mean for the wider region as a whole.
The hate speech, the preaching of this hate ideology, which leads to a genocide, and which is unfolding in Eastern Congo by other groups other than just FDLR, it's no longer an issue of numbers. If it is numbers, they have numbers. Maybe when you talk about few numbers of FDLR, that's one thing. But now there are FDLR plus many others in the environment in Congo, including the leaders. And if a country's president or leadership is actually going to embrace this hate ideology, you think that's a small thing? How does a combination of these factors not appear like existential to us?
At the center of this brewing storm is the international community's crippling hypocrisy that has seen it set objectives over the years and then fail to follow through with concrete action.
In
2013, when the UN Security Council voted in favor of Resolution 2098, it basically approved the creation of a special unit in MONUSCO that was called the FIB, the Force Intervention Brigade, and its job was to fight both the M23 and the FDLR. It forced the M23 to flee to Uganda, but when it came time to fight the FDLR, they decided not to, saying the group had integrated so much with the local population they feared causing more harm than good. After its decision to expel the East African force that was in the DRC to implement the Luanda and Nairobi Accords, the government in Kinshasa sought help from the Southern African Development Community, and some countries from the bloc did send their troops, but despite this and the help of international mercenaries, Congo's armed forces have continued to lose territories in the battle for North Kivu province, all the while continuing to put the entire Great Lakes region in peril because of the security implications of the bad decisions being made in the DRC.
To other matters, opposition party PS Imberakuri announced that it has not yet decided who it will support in the presidential and parliamentary elections slated for July this year. This was announced during a training session that brought together its leadership and members in the Western Province.
The workshop was held in Karongi district, attended by members of PS Imberakuri from the Western Province. Part of the agenda was discussing the party's position for the upcoming presidential and parliamentary elections. Members advocated for efforts in creating more jobs for the youth, as well as addressing problems encountered by patients in hospitals. We are prepared for the elections as Rwandans in general. We believe that with what we have been able to achieve, if we are elected by the majority, we will achieve even more. There are issues of poverty and teenage pregnancy. I think this should be urgently addressed because they hinder the country's development. One of the issues causing poverty among the youth is that we apply for loans in BDF and we are rejected because we can provide collaterals which we do not have. In the end, my idea can't generate profit because I don't have the capital. We want this to be put into our party's manifesto, same as the welfare of patients, where it has been clear that sometimes service delivery is poor. The party's chairperson, Christine Mukabunani, announced that most of the ideas in the 2017 manifesto have been implemented, which gives hope that what will be put in this year's election manifesto will be achieved too. We made advocacy and some issues were solved. An example is the salaries for teachers, which were increased, the teaching of French in schools, the use of organic fertilizers instead of industrial fertilizers, and others. Despite that, there are still other problems that need advocacy. For instance, our agriculture still depends more on climate condition. With enough rain, people get enough produce, and without rain, the produce highly declines. This will be part of our manifesto. Another thing is that in this province, the Kigali-Karongi road is in poor condition. Also, the districts that border Lake Kivu do not get profits from it as they should, and this too should be addressed, which is why we will include it in our manifesto. She further reiterated that a conclusion is yet to be made regarding the party's position in the upcoming presidential and parliamentary elections. We haven't decided yet, as the General Assembly is yet to gather, but I can say we have full rights. The party is looking for 80 candidates to take on parliamentary seats once elected by the majority, and more than 200 candidatures have been received to date.
The betting platform Winner has opened 5 gaming centers in Kigali following an extended online presence. The company says it made the move in order to reach more of its clients and provide more opportunities to win big.
We are very happy to be here today. We are, after being operated for the last 8 months as an online company, we opened 5 shops. As you can see, this is one of them here in Kinamba. We decided to go and be more in touch with the public, to give the public shops that they can be enjoying our games on the ground, not just online. And we opened 5 shops last month. And once it will succeed, we will open more and more around the country, so you will see us around. And I hope the country and the people will be happy with our product. We have casino games and we have sport books, which allow people to bet on sports, on horse races, on soccer, on any games. So you're more than welcome to try it. The same games are online as well, but here we have all casino games and sport books. That is those are the products. If you have a good luck, I think you can get over $1 million. But yeah, and some people already took quite a lot of good prizes in the last 2 months. Especially there is a game called Aviator. It's very popular, and Yeah, so I'm happy actually to see people win, because that gives them a lot of credibility, and we are on the ground, and we are definitely going to fulfill the wins. Winner started in Rwanda a year ago. We were closed down actually because of COVID. So we launched 8 months ago the online operation, and the last 2 months we were busy opening those shops.
The company says it intends to open other gaming centers in different parts of the country in the near future. Winner has a presence in more than 30 countries globally. And moving ahead, East African Community University students, a part of the international organization Rotaract, are calling for African countries to unite over their shared vision of long-term development in order to overcome their differences. The youth are in Rwanda as Rwanda prepares to commemorate for the 30th time the 1994 genocide perpetrated against the Tutsi.
About peace and conflict, I think as Africa we need to come together as one country, because we are having a lot of differences. If we can solve the differences as a country, as one continent, then we can really grow and be like the Great Britain and other European countries when they come together. The best thing is for us to come together as one country, as one person. We are all Africans, we are all black. If we can appreciate that and stay in that mode of yes, we are black, appreciate it, we can do better as a person, as a people.
About the genocide that happened in Rwanda, it is very unfortunate that it happened to people in our region, and to avoid future conflicts and future occurrence of such, I would say the first thing that people need is economic empowerment, because when people are economically empowered, when people have something for themselves, when people have things to develop themselves, then they are not going to fight each other, because most of the time people are fighting for resources. People are fighting even for food. So if we have resources in our countries, if we grow what we have, if we came together and decided to grow what we have, and we have resources, we have support from our governments, we have regulations, we have policies that support the youth, that support economic work in our countries, then we should be able to avoid most of the conflicts that we have. Also, something else I would like to say is for us to remember that at the end of the day we are one. At the end of the day we are human beings, and not look at our differences. We're coming from different tribes, different countries, different communities. At the end of the day we are one, and we are one country, we are one region, we are one Africa, and what we should work towards is developing our Africa.
Indeed, and moving ahead in today's health segment, we will review key highlights from Rwanda's health sector for the past week. And to start, it is worth noting that the first edition of the E3 International Conference on Cancer convened this week in Kigali. The conference aimed to assess the current gaps in oncology across the African continent and explore strategies to address them. Dr. Jerry Ndumbalo, a clinical and radiation oncologist in Tanzania, sheds light on some of the gaps that still persist, particularly in Africa.
What are the main gaps that we are currently facing? First, we have a problem in data. This means most of our countries don't have what we call cancer registries that are existing, and if they are existing, some of them they are not functioning well. So we urge our government, our Ministry of Health, to make sure that the cancer registries are well implemented, so that we have enough information, enough data in terms of the number of patients and what the type of patients are there, so that we can invest in cancer care. We do also have a gap in terms of cancer research and education. Most of our countries, the research in terms of cancers are very low, meaning that we depend most of the time on the research and publication from outside Africa, and this doesn't directly translate to our societies, because as you know, the geographical the genetics are totally different when you compare to Western world and Africa. So we have to have our own research-based information so that we can improve and treat our cancer patients. So we also have a problem in terms of the workforce. This has been seen in most of African countries. We have very few number of what we call oncologists, the cancer doctors, the surgeons who are doing or are treating or are managing cancer care, the nurses who are specifically for cancer care, and also technicians, physicists who are basically giving the radiotherapy and the radiotherapy's different techniques. So it's basically we have to collaborate between ourselves, African countries, because the training inside Africa setting is different from when you are trained outside Africa. The system, the type of patients, the patterns of diseases are different. So if you have a customized training in our region, it will help us improving our patients' care. We also have a problem, not a problem, but we haven't yet invested in national cancer policies as well as national cancer strategic plans. Most of the countries, they have a strategic plan, but it encompasses a lot of disease, and most of the time they put in a basket of NCDs. So if they put in one basket of NCD and they have a strategic plan for that, then it's difficult to tackle cancer on its own. So it's better, it's must for each country in Africa to have their own national cancer strategic plans, national cancer control plans, in order for us to have a plan in place so that we can at least reduce the number of patients and plan for them even when they get the disease. The last one was screening and early diagnosis. Most of our patients in most of the African countries are coming at a very advanced disease. Sometimes 70 to 80% of it. So we have also to invest in early screening to supply these mammography machines in a route from the level of district or health centers down there, so that women can be screened. In terms of cervical cancer as well, we have to put screening facilities at the ground level in order for them to be identified easily and come for treatment, because cancer is curable when it is found most of the time at the earlier stages, and it's very difficult to treat it when it's already in advanced stages. So we argue to have these screening and early diagnosis, early detections sites, especially at the primary health care, in order for us to pick these patients early and treat them effectively. So those are the areas that we had gaps, and these were our main suggestions to partners, not only the government and Ministry of Health, but also to all the private and public, because most of the time now we are doing also PPP, so private and all other stakeholders who are in one way or another helping in fighting against cancer.
Furthermore, this week, the Ministry of Health hosted an informative session with various partners and stakeholders to present the progress of the first year of the implementation of the 4x4 reform. This initiative aims to quadruple the health workforce within 4 years, spearheaded by the government of Rwanda. The 4x4 reform program endeavors to significantly increase the number of health care professionals to over 480,000 in Rwanda's health sector. Measures to achieve this ambitious goal are already underway, including sending Rwandan doctors and nurses to study in Cuba, Ethiopia, Egypt, France, and India. Dr. Sabin Nsanzimana, Rwanda's Minister of Health, emphasized that these reforms aim to enhance the well-being of the population and elevate the overall quality of the health sector.
It's all like it's going to be difficult or impossible or challenging, but now a few months down the road we see that we can actually even think beyond 4x4, but that will come next time. So today we wanted to discuss with you as partners, as implementers. So we continue to own this initiative of the government of Rwanda because we know where we came from. With no providers, using community health workers only in the aftermath of genocide against the Tutsis just 30 years ago. Today we have a few doctors, few nurses, few midwives. It's a progress, but it's not enough. So now we have to move forward, we have to accelerate more. It's 4x4, it's stronger and faster. And we don't just do the numbers, we also do the quality of the trainees. So we've been tracking this implementation very closely because the implementation is the most important part. The policy part has been done, it's decided, it's possible, we can do it. Now the next is in our hands as partners, as heads of different institutions present here, to make sure in everyday plans and implementations, we all connect to this priority of the government of Rwanda.
And from this, we come to the end of our tonight's edition. On behalf of the entire news production as well as the technical team, many thanks for being with us. And as we let you off for Easter, let us once again take this opportunity to wish you a happy Easter to you and your family members as you celebrate, and to those who celebrate. Have a good night.